So, day number 4. I had a whole different day in my head yesterday, but I had to do so many chats when I came back. So I actually fell asleep around 4, I think. Woke up. I always like to wake up the same time no matter what time I go to sleep, even if I would, let's say, quote unquote work till sometimes I do. I'm not doing it on a regular basis like this, but sometimes it's simply necessary. Or necessary, also really like to do them. By the way, I don't see those things like work, because I'm not deep diving in the coal mines, and you understand what I mean. So what I want to say, I messed up a little bit my whole plan of the day by doing this, because I woke up at 7:30, then the scheduling, the planning, and a little bit again chatting, sending video calls, video messages, and now I'm actually walking again through the Holy Trinity Park, and that's also something. That's why I want to go to some different areas. I think I'm going because every day, no matter what, I need to train. So I think I'm going to train over here today. So very close, because I don't know where I want to go afterwards. I need to do a lot of editing. Yeah, let's see. Because this now I actually want to clear my head a little bit. So dusty. So yes, I want to first clear my head, do a little bit training over here, and the weather is good, so maybe I go later on to Lulin to do a little beer over there. Maybe let's see. First, going through my cycle, because yesterday I said I would go for a run or do the boxing. Tomorrow I'm gonna do the boxing thing, and as you can hear, I get now messages. By the way, if you're watching this video and you probably at this time, oh yeah, you cannot, because I'm uploading it later. Anyway, I'm gonna respond, train, and then continue the day. Because yeah, also when I'm in busy, in the Airbnb, working on stuff, doing my video calls, maybe I will do once in a while a little bit. But but with some people it is maybe interesting. Okay, let's do this first. That's done. So when it's about the training, so yesterday I showed a little bit my part of my cycle that I did yesterday, and I did today a little bit extra. The things that I added today were the window wipers, what else, the 360, I don't know how to call it, 360 circle with straight legs hanging on the pull-up bar. Good amount of toes to bar with straight legs. Okay, so that was good. And every time when I've done, I actually feel incredibly good. The thing is, and that's what I also mentioned in previous videos, when I wouldn't do it, and I go at the end of the week, through my Google Sheet to check what I can improve and maybe the form of this and this, I really give thought to those exercises, and and then try to perfect them the next time, but also maybe a little bit more over there, a little bit more or less over here, just to keep, let's say, everything in balance also. And for example, if I would go to the gym and get very big shoulders, I don't believe that would really fit my posture. It makes me look small, and I like, because I'm 1.74 m, if I've got huge shoulders and even and then some people might think, yeah, if you grow the rest also. But then, you know, you look like an, hey, if you're a very tall guy, I don't know, at least 180 plus, yeah, that looks great. I think it looks great for those, but for me, I don't believe that it looks good on me. It makes me look, yeah, I feel like a chubby guy then, because I did this before. I was once, for a good period, at least around 85 kilos. I'm now 74. I feel much better, much faster, but also when I'm way much more heavier, then, yeah, I understand the real fitness people, they would say, yeah, that's nothing. But for me, you know, that was, I think at one point I reached my highest was 89 kilos, but if I had to do a 10-kilometer run, it would be impossible. Serious. And then the thing is, constantly also hungry. Yeah, and then also I had a little bit of period that I went to the gym, but no, you know, I like this a lot. So anyway, now I'm gonna buy quickly a bottle of water and just put it back in the apartment. I stayed very close to the apartment now. Then I'm going to change my shoes, because I bought those inlay soles, those special ones, sport inlay soles, but I don't know if I'm very happy with it. But anyway, let's buy the water and then we'll see what we're gonna do afterwards. So yeah, let's see what we can do about this. So I bought water, did some groceries, going to make some pasta, fresh tomatoes, garlic, onion, some carrots. Now I'm gonna go first a little bit in the neighborhood, relax. I'm going to buy, I already said to the butcher, yeah, today is a little bit, what I said, a little bit out of my rhythm, because I actually want to go all over Sofia, also to change a little bit the environment, because otherwise maybe you think, yeah, he's constantly busy only in his own neighborhood. Normally I got long periods that I'm constantly all over Sofia, which I really enjoy, talking with a lot of people, strangers, meeting people, which I really love to do, huh? And yeah, so let's go outside. By the way, if you think fence, but no, it doesn't matter. The thing is, where was I? I don't remember where. Oh yeah, no, I don't remember. Oh yeah, if you think why I don't take the elevator, well, it's good, right? Little training, a little bit, now a little bit of walking the stairs. Okay, let's go into the neighborhood, and I need to answer some messages, because, and by the way, if you watch this video, these are your messages, and I like to respond pretty much to most of the messages as fast as I can. Serious. Decided something. I'm not going to travel around anymore, but see, this is also what I do. I always write down my thoughts. I wrote over, I think at the moment, over 10,000 quotes. Maybe it's nice to share a few and maybe share my thoughts and the reason why I think about it like this, and then maybe try to get some interaction, engagement, and maybe you guys can respond a little bit on it. And the thing is, there is a lot of, see, I lived a very colorful life, and the thing is, like I said also I think in my first video, I'm not the kind of guy who says, you know, circumstances this and this, just to build very quickly rapport or connection with people who think that they're also in the same situation. You know, that's what most of the people do, right? We don't have to mention name all the, let's say, the motivators or whatever, and with all the respect to them, but I also said this once, because there are multiple of those motivators that they had. Yeah, I had a bad this and this, blah blah blah. I would never go even into that, even if, because no matter what, and I also said this in another video, there are, okay, let me try to think about my words and say this the right way, because otherwise maybe people get a little bit offended or something. But what I think, as long as you didn't get raped or whatever, beat up every day for 10 years, because that's also something, when those, let's say, motivators, they talk about getting beat up and alcoholic parents or whatever. With all the respect to them, that is all great, but I don't believe that you should share those things the way they do. And I think on the long term, you will notice the way I talk and think about things and approach other people around me. I have lived a colorful life, and that's what my purpose is with this, my kind of videos. For example, the people who never lived a colorful life can learn a thing or two, or at least think about stuff they would never normally would think about, because I'm thinking about examples, and I want to build this up and not to get into very weird stuff at the moment, because things can go very quickly bananas, especially when you travel around but also when you're young and you get a lot of attention because you're a high energy person. High energy people, if you watching these kind of videos, probably the very high level energy people don't watch a lot of videos because they don't have the patience for that. But if you're a high level kind of person with energy and positive energy, because negative energy only attracts negative things, I've been guilty of that in the past, so but I want to I think I'm gonna do that. Maybe even gonna do it inside, just go through list of speaking shorts, but also maybe a little bit more insights how I strategically approach, let's say, and this is also something I never like to use the word problem or so anyway, that's what I'm gonna do. And let's see, because if I would get now in trams or subways, then there will be so many people. Also because now it's around 5 o'clock, I think, and most people then get out of their jobs, schools and whatever, and then it's very busy, and that is very time consuming. But I can also not talk freely, because now I'm sitting over here in the Elenden. And again, if this if I pronounce this the wrong way, but let's see. I need to go to the butcher over there. I'm gonna show it to you quickly. Actually, that's the best butcher from the neighborhood. If you ever come to Bulgaria, or maybe you're from this neighborhood, I do believe, and also the people, when I talk with the people, I talk with a lot of people over here, but also the people in the block that I live, and actually in the neighborhood, most people go to this butcher because the meat is very, very clean. It seems to be very extremely clean, because they opened a new butcher at the end of this street, again in the Elenden neighborhood. I don't actually know the name of the street, but the thing is, that butcher is a little bit overpriced, and the meat doesn't taste as good. And the thing is, when you cannot even and I talk about the other butcher, not to talk bad, but it's true. The thing is, this butcher, you cannot even compare it with the supermarket, and I already talked about this before. That's why I don't even mention the meat in the supermarkets. But so now buy meat. Oh, something stitched me. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And then tomorrow start going around. And I think tomorrow will be nice to go to the Ilianzi market, do a coffee over there, do some editing and stuff in the tram, show some things also. And because if I walk through the center and everything with the camera, I don't really like that. So let's keep it like this for now. And maybe people who are watching you think this is now a very boring video, or maybe the previous videos. The thing is, these videos are not about showing you sitting me in pools and driving cars and, you know, showing all the standard things. I want to make people think. I want to share things with people that I experience, but also my solutions for those things. You know, a lot of people don't talk about solutions. They talk about how bad the world is and I don't know what, but in general, and even, let's say it like this, even when things are bad, how to approach this, but also not to get really affected by it mentally, or, you know, that you get paralyzed. You know, a lot of people get paralyzed easily by a lot of stuff, simply because of a lack of maybe life experience, but also you know, not knowing. You know, sometimes when you know little tiny tricks how to, let's say, survive. I survived and I used many tricks that I had to find out. Most things that I figured out to try to make the best in the worst situation, there was nobody to give me advice upon. And those situations I will definitely share them, because there's a lot of things to learn from. You know, I lost everything before. I lost at least 3 times everything in my life, so there are a lot of lessons to learn from. And this is also something people, you know, I lived a little bit, you know, outside as well. I had a period like this. The thing is, people who really lived a life, so for example, I know also people who just make up things. There is always one little tiny thing, the details. You know, for example, I know people who just came up with stories that they were homeless and that kind of stuff, but they never mention one thing. You know what it is? When you sit on the street waiting till the day comes, there's one thing you get: time and extreme hunger. There is also peace in that, but I'm gonna get into that topic as well along the, let's say, the vlog series. But you know, in every kind of, when people because people also seem to like to make up things, but they don't say the small things what you will experience. So for example, if you would lose your home today or whatever, I can tell you a lot about it, because I lost everything. And not only that, when I first lost everything, well, my adoption mother died already when I was 29. But when I lost everything in Holland, for example, my father was, reaching his end, but I lost everything. I couldn't stay in Holland. And in order to survive, I came to Bulgaria. But it's not a sad story, but along the way you have to figure out a lot of stuff. Huh? And then, of course, from Bulgaria we went to Malta, different countries, and also, you know, people like me, we get a lot of attention, negative and positive, mostly positive, but the negative forces can be very strong, and, you know, they can also be very life-changing. Never underestimate how much negative forces, and especially negative forces that are totally the opposite of you. So for example, if you're a high level energy person, you will meet the opposites. Trust me, in every country, every city, I meet opposites. You know, very simple things, examples. You know, for example, you know, some of my stalkers, they are, some are, I don't want that, you know, I'm not saying that they're scary or something, but you have to be careful. And I don't see this as so-called nemesis, because nemesis are in general trying to really harm you, and they're emotionally involved in things. Stalkers are general not to harm you, but just very interested. Yeah, anyway, I need to go to the butcher, and then I'm gonna sit down and let's do some mind things, and just to share some thoughts, and maybe you sit behind the laptop or on your phone and maybe makes you think, and maybe perhaps you're in the same situation, or you needed a little bit something to hear from somebody who lived a very colorful life at the moment, like yeah, anyway, we'll be getting in other topics as well, but let's see. So at the moment I am in the Airbnb kitchen doing chats. My phone is with the DJI clip hanging on the fridge, but I'm going to show you the view. It's a great view, I think, right? This is the thing. I'm going to stay in the kitchen. I'm gonna cook. And I really enjoy to cook at home, huh? I also like to go to the happy restaurants. I don't like to eat döners, pizzas, and that kind of food and that's my own personal opinion. I know a lot of people who eat döners a lot, pizzas as well, but they do it in every country actually, because also when I lived in Malta, pizza, burgers, and then you got the high level kind of burgers, special meats. Prices are different of course in Malta, but still, so there was one very nice burger place, and I told you, I'm not the biggest fan of burgers because they make me always feel a little bit, there's so much sauce, and you eat a little bit like I like to use knife and forks, so we're not getting into how you eat a burger, because I don't like that, all the things over your fingers. But there's one place, and that is in Gozo, but they're also in Malta. Gozo is the head of the smaller island. I think the name was Black Bull or something. But those burgers were good. But again, I always feel puffy, and the same is with the pizzas. And maybe if you know what the reason about this is, that I feel always puffy, and maybe with the pizza. Oh, you know what? When some places, I eat döners maybe 5 or 6 times a year. But once I also had, I don't know exactly where, because I'm not regularly eating döners. But once I ate a döner, I think it was from the center, and I think it was so salty. The next day when I woke up, I was incredibly thirsty. I don't believe that's a good sign. And this is, and I'm not offending people who are eating döners every day, because I can see the people from schools and everything, they're eating constantly that kind of food. Very fast food, pizzas, burgers, döners, and when it's about those young people, and I'm saying this a lot, when it's about the young people these days, they're huge, and if those huge people would eat, let's say, a little bit more disciplined, there would be animals. And I'm saying this in a good way, because you can stuff your whole, you simply putting your body down, right? If you, let's say, 4 or 5 times a week, pizzas and burgers, I don't believe, and I never tried it. I did a lot of degenerate things in my life, but when you eat every day, let's say 4 or 5 times per week, pizzas and burgers and fries and mayonnaise. I eat mayonnaise with sometimes, I buy sometimes mayonnaise because I enjoy eating mayonnaise. I used to eat a lot more mayonnaise because I really love mayonnaise, but I don't do that anymore. But the thing is, if those strong young people
See, I was never like, because if you look at those young people, let's say they are 21. See, I was never the tallest guy or something, but these days the young people, they're like this. I think even the 18, of course, not all, but a lot of them, I think, Jesus Christ, those people are huge. But yeah, if they go every day to eat donors and everything, they don't get the full potential of what they actually do have. They do have. I also believe with if they go totally nuts on you, whatever. Nah. See, I'm used to a lot of stuff, but when I see those people, see, I also don't know their so-called fighting capabilities. I know I saw some things from young people, but also some a lot of young people who are, especially the people in the fighting, let's say fighting school, so boxing, MMA, wrestling, and I never did wrestling, by the way, because I simply don't like to touch other men. That simply was my whole main thing always. I never liked to crawl over other men. Like because it's very close to another man, and you crawl over each other, maybe put your crowns in his face, and again, no disrespect to the people who are doing the crawling and the judos and I don't know what. I wouldn't do that. Also, even grab the guy, from the front. I prefer not. But I do respect those people who are very strong, because once I got totally, we had a good time. We started wrestling a little bit with some Bulgarians over here somewhere in a village, just for fun, just friendly. But Jesus Christ, I could, for me, I'm just straightforward. Just it needs to be done in very knockout power. Let's say it like this. And I'm not over there anymore mentally. But the thing is, those people are incredibly strong. I also have several friends. But no, I don't have friends. I have bonds. One of them, if and I know, I know, and with all respect, if you're watching this, if he also would really start taking care of his body, he would be also so extremely strong. You know. But anyway, what I'm going to make now is fresh tomatoes, and this is also something when it's about tomatoes. Just Google it, or I always use, I do a lot of research before I eat something or prepare something, but I love to cook. I'm cooking for, I could say, decades, on a very regular basis, and when it's about boiling, of course not over boiling, but making pasta from real tomatoes. I never use. Sometimes I do to fill up a little bit the stuff, especially when I lost everything. You use the canned things, but that is a temporary thing. When you can just boil fresh tomatoes with the garlic, onion. It's a very basic stuff. Very basic stuff. But there is something about when you boil tomatoes, it releases something. Just research it if you don't believe me, but it does. And that's one of the. I eat a lot of tomatoes. I also eat tomatoes in the raw form. I also do a lot of ginger. I do ginger just to keep, to keep the skin good, because I'm doing a lot of research to keep skin good. I'm doing and again, I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm far away, let's say, knowledge-wise, and I cannot tell you the whys and hows. But when I, for example, use a lot of ginger, I'm using Gemini Advanced, and just roll out all the benefits, and I see, oh, this is what I like, that's what I like, and the same, and that's another thing, because there's not so much sun. See, and no matter what, and I'm raised by white people, so You know, I'm just saying how it is. You know, I was adopted so, from people from Holland. But the thing what I want to say with this, no matter, let's say that the fact that I feel white or whatever, I still live in this body. And that is something, because, okay, now I start thinking about a lot of stuff, because I was born in Indonesia, but when I would sit with Indonesian people, I tried to sit with Indonesian people. Simply, nah, yeah, with all the respect to them, I am not Indonesian, you know. Inside, outside, maybe, but on the inside, totally don't have their behaviors. But also, for example, and that's why I feel actually pretty good in Bulgaria, very, very good in Bulgaria, and that's why I also don't want to. Pretty much, I don't want to go anywhere else. So for example, I was raised in Holland, but the overall experience in Holland, yeah, you're always treated like a foreigner, huh? Especially when you, now yeah, I had multiple businesses over there, tons of projects, but you know, when you already not doing the 9 to 5, then you're already very quickly placed in a box of, oh, he's doing this and that. And that is really Holland. Holland is really about placing people in boxes, you know. And if you're from Holland and you think it's not true, you know it's true. And people from, and this is also something, this is, and I do believe this is a funny thing. People from the south, and I was raised in the north of Holland, people in the south, and or especially people from Amsterdam, they would say, yeah, you hey, freaking farmers. I don't know how to say it in properly, but they look down on you. Whatever, you come from the north, but you know what? You know, I lived in Malta. Well, what do I need to think about people then in the north? You know, I don't see that picture, but you know, people who travel a lot, they have way much more open-minded things, and they're not judgmental. People who never leave their, even their birth area, you know, then yeah, what about, and this is no, and one way I envy those people too, because you know, and from the village that I grew up, had those people were all together, you know, that they, okay, maybe here and there a little bit trouble, but and they're all, and I'm saying how it is, they're all white people, you know, they speak Frisian, I didn't speak Fries, but, and you know, those people are a community, but they are actually a closed community, no matter what, and they gossip a lot. And they make up stories. That's a whole different topic. But the thing is, I don't know how it is in other villages in other countries. I lived in several villages, but in Holland, it's people put you really quickly in boxes. You look like this, or you're that like this, or you didn't do this education, then you're like that. But even the people, see, and this is something what I talked about yesterday when I talk about and people in suits and whatever, people who think that they're better than other people, dressing up and then thinking that they're better, or also, you know, people, for example, and again, and I'm not talking, I don't want to talk bad about Holland, I don't want to talk bad about things in general, but I'm talking about those, I do think that there are issues, because in general, you shouldn't look down on anybody. But in Holland, people do. And, you know, I also had a bar in Holland, an interesting bar, went totally bananas. But it were, you know, the whole community, it was in a village also. Yeah, they call it a city, but when I think about it, you know, the attitude of those people are like villagers. And again, they were all together and somehow, but again, Mm, yeah. What was I actually with my story going with this? We talked about tomatoes. We talked about people in Holland that people put each other in boxes. Yeah, and I do really love the attitude, and also another fact. Bulgaria keeps their country clean of people who don't walk the line. So, for example, that's another thing, and then a lot of people gonna start maybe thinking, that doesn't sound very good, or they feel offended. But okay, I'm gonna say it anyway. There are a lot of immigrants coming to Holland. See, I know also they come to Germany and Belgium. I don't care about that. Yeah, of course, I do care somehow, but I don't do anything about it, so I cannot say I care about that. But the fact that people come to Holland and they say that our, let's say that the Dutch women cannot dress like this and this, otherwise they get spit on. Dutch people, and I don't know if you're familiar with Holland, but people from Holland they call Dutch people Hollanders, but and not only that, they also decide on. They actually cancelled very old school children um, tragedies. No tragedies, traditions, tragedies, traditions like Santa Claus, because and the Santa Claus and Zwarte Piet. I'm gonna say it. That they banned Zwarte Piet on that so-called. The black people feel offended by it because he's a fucking slave. No, he's not. He's part of just the tradition. The thing is, now and see, and that's what I mean. I'm not going to any kind of country and put people, put my will on them. See, and that is something I don't see that really happening over here. And if people really walk really next to their, go outside the normality over here, well, you get what you over here. I do believe at the moment you really get what you deserve. So you give good, you get a lot of good. I get a lot of extremely good. Wherever I go, in every store, and especially some new stores where they don't know me, they look a little bit, but I just I know how quickly how to break the ice and just make people laugh a little bit, but also feel comfortable. When you I do understand, when you see me and maybe the first time you think, no, what is this? But I really know how to break the ice. But in Holland, no, I had a lot of problems because of that. Huh? But the thing is, over here, they keep the country pretty clean. You don't, for example, and I'm not gonna mention ethnicities, people from specific countries, but in Holland, some people, they do very bad things, very honorless, disrespectful things, like spitting on women or threatening women. You know, I cannot, and that also caused. When I lived over there, I also got in multiple conflicts with that kind of people because I don't like that at all. And even if the woman that I don't have any connection with them, the thing is, I don't understand it and I don't want to understand it. And maybe some of the people would say, yeah, Don, that sounds like you handle things a little bit the way you shouldn't. Well, at the moment I also don't do because it's not necessary over here. But still, I'm gonna say how it is. If I see another guy spitting a woman or slapping a woman in the face, yeah, then I would definitely say something about it. And if they do continue or they get aggressive or whatever, let's say it like this. And then we also not talk about any kind of quote unquote violence. I do have knockout power, and that is, I can say that, but I wouldn't knock out a guy straight away. But if somebody spit at a woman or whatever they do, people are very knowledgeable about the people who do those things, right? And over here, Yeah, they're not a very big fan of those things either. So I like them. There's common sense. So was one incident last year. One of my exes, she accused me of something that I want. Okay, so and that one was also making up a lot of stories. But besides that, at the end of our quote unquote relationship, we lived together. The thing is, she made up a story, went to the police, and said that I threatened her. But this is the thing, and I was sitting with the police. Well, they could see I'm totally not fitting in that picture, and they were very quickly clear about that. But and then that's what I love, because if the same would happen to me in Malta, those people would straight away say, yeah, let's throw him first in jail and then we figure it out. Here I could normally sit and actually explain and actually also show the things that I'm doing for a living. If I would threaten women or all that degenerate kind of stuff, my name goes through the drain pretty quickly, yeah? I'm telling you. And I think in general, again, these days with the social media, also on top of that, okay, a lot of people maybe don't have audiences or whatever, but it's never good. But that's what I mean, you know, when I went to the police station, they actually called me this, and then I said, what is this about? Yeah, and then they said, you threatened your ex of your girlfriend. And I said, what did I do? And this is where she made a mistake. See, when you make up lies, there's always something wrong, because it doesn't fit with the reality, right? It never fits with reality. And the thing is, I'm good at asking questions, so I actually asked, how did I do this actually? Now and then the story was, she said actually that a friend of mine was on the phone also, so I would call her at 1 o'clock, which also that is not my totally not my time frame on to call people. But also this was the thing, she said that I said it in Bulgarian. But the thing is, I don't know how to say in Bulgarian, I'm gonna cut off your head. But anyway, there was much more. I showed them also I showed them also chats, and the police in the end also asked me, you know, is he 100%? I said, you know what, I'm not over here to actually, and when the police actually sees this video, they know I talked like this. You know, I also told them, no matter what, you know, I'm not over here to talk bad about her, even she tries to harm me, because that's the thing, right? Somebody who accuses you from stuff, and this is not the first time. Oh, there are a lot of other incidents, but when it's about false accusations, people can ruin your reputation, future possible relationships. It simply doesn't look good. But also the time that you spend, you know, you have to go to the police there. And the thing is, in the first instance, everybody, you know, maybe you're innocent, but you know the people when this. And when I came in, I also straight away shake their hand, but because I really didn't know for what. But yeah, that's what I mean. But they were very, very common sense police people. They understood. And there was at one point also another person, I think that was the prosecutor. And you know what? I had to show, because I had proof of everything. You know, people can see where I am. People can see what I'm doing. People can, and the whole accusation of mistreating another person doesn't fit in a disciplined life and that kind of stuff. But so that was one of those things that I can say that is really common sense here in Bulgaria. If people ask me what do you love about Bulgaria, first of all, common sense. Is everybody like this? No, that's not what I'm saying. But the overall thing as a community, there is common sense, and there's also a way. They always give the opportunity to prove yourself, and if you proved yourself, then the, let's say, the quote unquote respect is there. You know what I'm also trying to do is, man, you know, when I go into new shops, which is pretty much hard to do because I'm going pretty much everywhere. You know, I'm really greeting people as polite as possible. When I ask something, I always, can I? It's not like give me, because that's also something when you learn a new language. I always ask about how to say this in the most polite way possible, because again, when you come as an immigrant, you would and use words like give me, because it sounds, and other people who never left their own country, and they think, yeah, that sounds rude. See, I never want to sound rude, but well, we go from tomatoes to actually not being rude. But I actually now want to cook a little. I'm gonna think about some other topics to talk about, and then let's see, because I also received a couple of messages I want to respond, and let's see, maybe later I go still out. I'm actually starving, so now I'm gonna make food and I'm gonna think a little bit. You know, and this is something what I also said in one video. I'm trying to find my voice. I'm trying to find some sort of format of video that would work, but without, the traditional stuff, like talking about how bad life is without actually, giving real feedback on it, or talk about that you have to be the strongest man on the planet. Well, they actually take a lot of medicines to stay calm. Or I also don't want to prank people, or you got those people, who yeah, like to give money to homeless people and then put them on camera. See, and I get my own experience with this when it's about helping out, let's say, the less fortunate. What I used to do also in Holland, I organized parties for the homeless people so they could drink for free. But I would never put those people on camera. And there's also, probably, if you saw some of the some, it is only day 4, so you know as you probably understand, I don't even want to put strangers on camera without actually asking for their consent. But also, they're passing by. Other people might say, yeah, those people just walk in the public. They're over there. You have the right to this and this. I understand that approach, but I don't feel comfortable with this. I don't feel comfortable with the fact to make other people uncomfortable. And when it's about those homeless people, giving money to them and then and all that kind of stuff, put it on video. Yeah, that's all fun. And probably, and those people who do those things, they do good work somehow. But why put it on camera? Okay, it gives a lot of views. But and I don't believe that it works on the long term, because if you need to get views like this, where is your own personality? Okay, maybe they were homeless themselves, or they have the best intentions, yeah, to grow communities and then show and then collect money to give away. But that's actually, in my personal opinion, that's a very tiny circle where you're gonna circle in, because you need the audience somehow to fund. It becomes a business model. And the things that I want to say, I'm just sharing all the things that I experienced, and I don't even want to. Well, uh, well, I get also constantly messages, and the thing is, some people say interesting stuff, This is pretty recent, so I'm not gonna say it now. But anyway, so what I wanted to do actually is to close today's video. It was not the most exciting video, but you know, I'm using Google Keep with all the notes, which is, in my opinion, very good. Next to Notion, I'm using this. So I write down all my thoughts and the things that I have. So I got my speaking shorts. So oh yeah, maybe that's a nice thing to close the video with, and maybe you like it, maybe you hate it, but just let me know. So this is the thing. I wrote it down because I never ask. So when I haven't seen people for a while, or also when I see them along the way, you know, that I meet them multiple times, let's say per month, I never ask how people are doing. Because, be very honest about it, who cares? I would care, but I also don't care genuinely enough to actually solve the problems for those people. If they would mention, oh, I have this and this, and let's say it like this. When people ask me, how are you doing, I always say, yeah, I'm doing great. You know, because I appreciate life in a way that a lot of people maybe do not understand yet. Maybe you do, maybe you, I don't know what, but I always ask, what are you doing? So then you actually have a conversation. In my opinion, then you actually have a conversation with another person. So, for example, you just meet a person once per week. Let's say that is your quote unquote friend or whatever. You know, like I said also earlier today, you know, I don't have friends, I have bonds, and the rest are just people that you meet on a regular basis. Because what are friends these days? What is the label friend? I have bonds. That means people, they walk the mile, the extra mile. Some walk the extra mile. But in general, also the people who ask me, how are you doing? I'm always doing great because I love life. But next to that, I always ask them, what are you doing? And what are you doing now? What do you do later? What did you do this morning? So there's actually a conversation, and I'm genuinely interested what people do, and from there you can actually build a conversation. Because think about it, how are you doing? Good. How are you doing? Good. But listen to this, some people, let's say a good amount, a big percentage, yeah, okay, today not very good, or so. What is so? You're still fucking breathing, man. What is so? What is so? Your legs are working, your arms are swinging, and whatever. What is so? You're starving. You worrying about where to sleep this evening. You lost your parents yesterday. Yeah, then it's so. That is not nice, but you know, that's also something. A lot of people, and I say this many, and then I will repeat it many times. So many people have so much stuff going on, still have, and also a real basis to work from. And I think people who are so-called, and now we're getting in the topic, and it's not like because some other people talk about it, but people who, let's say, think very negative, or don't feel good about themselves or the people around them, you know, and that's why they act, you know, today I feel very bad. Okay, what if at the end of the day, when the clock strikes 12, that your heart stops? And some people might say, yeah, and I wish that would happen to me. Yeah. When people tell me, because I talk with all kind of people from different, and from a very young age, you know, I experienced a lot of crazy people, but also beautiful people, mid-level people, very high-level people, but also, you know, people do not want to pay the price for many things that they ask for. You know, what do you ask for? You know, what are you asking for? And that's also still, now I'm very aware of that, of what are you asking for and how specific are you actually with about the thing that you're actually asking for. Because what I would say, and maybe then close the video with this, whatever you ask for life, you first also need to ask yourself. Then the first you ask yourself, now let's say I want to be healthy, but ask yourself what I'm willing to sacrifice. Am I willing to put in the work? Am I willing to strategize the things? Am I willing to maybe lose a couple of friends here and there? Because, you know, let's be very honest, you know, if you get a little bit, let's say, a very, and I mentioned this topic, so because let's say you're very overweighted and you hang around constantly with people that eat pizza and then all of a sudden you change your life, and no man, and this is a very very simple example, but I can mention so many examples you don't want to know. But let's say it like this: you will lose a couple of friends because all of a sudden, let's say if you really get disciplined about, you know, the thing that you asked for, you paying the price. But paying the price on the longer term, you know, you're willing to put in the work. That's the price you pay. And then there are of course a lot of other things: financial gain, girlfriends, level of girlfriends, level. There's all, and that's also something that always levels to the game. But the thing is, I'm not gonna get into this. But maybe to end this video from today, what are you asking for? What are you willing to give? And, you know, personally to achieve or accomplish something that you asked for, or something that you would like, or even something that you would like for somebody else. You know, you want to protect your spouse and or your family. You know, what is the price that you're willing to pay? How far do you go? You know, are you hanging on the phone straight away when you hear a little noise in the backyard? You know, when you know, you're hanging on the phone, please go. And that would be, you know, I'm willing to protect my family or whatever. And I know from a lot, I talk with so many people, and when some people also say, you know, I'm willing to go all the way, you know, then I'm always a little bit, and I never make fun of anybody, but I always know, because you never, some people who say that they go all the way, who still, again I said this also in the previous video, who never lost pretty much anything, maybe they lost a grandmother, is not nice, I understand that, but you know, that's part of life. Parents are usually still alive. Some of them even lived still with their parents, and they said, I'm willing to go all the way. When you ask a little bit about the actions that they daily take on a daily basis, you know, and even some people also would say, you know, no, I'm not going that, you know, I'm not so disciplined about this. So you're not so disciplined about this and that, but you're willing to go all the way. And this is not because I'm, you know, I am all that. No, not at all. The thing is, because like I said, you know, when I go to boxing schools or whatever, you know, I'm looking at some of those guys. They're fucking monsters. I'm fucking nothing. They would wipe their noses with me. But there's another side of the thing. I will go that extra mile to stay alive. I have proven in many situations. But the thing is, it's not about what I did, but it's something that a lot of people should think about, right? What do you already have? Because when people also talk about, well, let's say it like this, I don't want to use the word, but maybe I would, depression or whatever. There are people, and I've met them. I'm also been together in specific kind of environments that people really were very, very negative, and also I could say that some of them were depressed. I can actually really say that, but like I said, I don't want to get too deep into this now. The thing is, what do you want? See, and oh, this is maybe nice to top it off. Another person, he actually maybe it was last week. I actually, because he's a little bit running around as a chicken without a head, and I asked him this: did you ever sit down in the dark for 12 hours, 24 hours? Just don't be on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and just think, what do you want? What is the price you're willing to pay? And just think about it. Just, and in the beginning you should don't sit 12 hours, but you know, and I'm sometimes lock myself up in the room when I have to figure out things, you know, and I'm not talking about 12 hours, I'm talking sometimes 3 days and puzzling, testing, figuring it out. But so for example, if you're young and you want to figure things out, just close everything, you know. And let's say you wouldn't have 3 days like I would have. The thing is, even if you would do for 6 hours, you know, you don't watch television, you don't look at your phone, you know, really think about it. Just for 6 hours. What is 6 hours? And also, okay, now I'm start going really start rattling through it, because now I'm also thinking, you know, the habits, for example, watching TV. I also mentioned this thing yesterday, you know, I made once a post in a fitness group. And I said, you know, and I don't watch television because I don't like to watch, I don't like to be controlled, because if you watch TV, programs are switching and I don't know what, other people decide for you exactly what to do. And it's not only about control, it's also more a thing of, I can do better things. I could, you know, maybe now record some vlogs like this, or educate myself. I like to multiple times per week. I spend a lot of time on this, but also I also think, you know, what if I test this, because I'm using a lot make.com, and I would, you know, think about this scenario, automate this process, or I would go through my Google Sheet of the training thing that I did today. But anyway, let's cut the video for today. Tomorrow I'm gonna a little bit more all around Sofia. I think the weather is gonna be good. Tomorrow it's Tuesday, so we start tomorrow. I want to start with boxing, I think, outside, and then a little bit travel around, talk a little bit, also a lot probably about all the things around, but also give it a thought. You know, if you don't know where to go, also, and you know, maybe in a difficult relationship or whatever, been there, done that, or your parents died, your adoption parent died, your I don't know what died. Give yourself time, you know, sit down and really try to get in touch with your own feelings. Don't escape them. The thing is, I escape many times my own feelings, you know, because facing yourself, you know, at the moment I'm really in peace, and you know, I'm very in peace over here, despite the things going on. That you know, I will share those things, but I'm not totally not depressed about anything. I'm actually always excited about stuff, because the moment that I can wake up, every time that I'm also going to bed, and you know, then I think it's necessary to sleep, because, but if it was for me, I prefer not to sleep. Anyway, let's cut the video. What do you want? Are you willing to pay the price? And just sit down in your room or your home and just turn off everything and sit in peace and think. Write things down on paper. I'm actually writing a lot of things down. I have everywhere papers. You know, I'm doing a little bit like this because there are things on it. This is about how I actually create the process of editing and CapCut, DJI, all those things, all the you know, the tools that I'm using. I'm trying to optimize a lot of things that I do, and I think I do so far not a bad job. But let's keep it like this. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you did. Also, you know, let's say if you're in a real tough position in life, and I can say, and probably you might think, yeah, that's what everybody would say, but a lot of people, if you're really in a tough position or whatever, and you're trying to figure out a solution, you tried a lot of things, then don't hesitate to contact. Just ask, because I've been in many positions, very colorful ones. Anyway, let's cut it for the day. And that was day 4. And you know what? This is also something about this whole vlogging thing. I know my video at the moment are far from, and probably after 1 year I will just laugh about it, you know. But I just want to do this, start doing this, and maybe reach 1 or 2 souls that feel happy about the things that I'm saying, and maybe some of the souls that I'm reaching, that they start thinking about the things that they actually do have, that they maybe normally wouldn't notice, you know, and much more other things. Because things like these videos, I hope that I can, no, that's not about hope, I don't like to use the word hope, by the way. I'm trying to work on optimizing everything, content, video angles, everything. Well, that's pretty much it. Ciao for now.